Oh, okay. I believe I'm live now. Had some technical difficulties, so sorry about that. But we are on. Let's let everyone know that we're live. Hope everybody's week went well. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, hope everybody's week went well, and yeah. As per always, gonna wait a few minutes here before I start answering any questions. But we are here. Yeah. Got my big thing of water. Okay. Uh, May the 4th. We're already in May. Really crazy how fast the year happens, how fast the year is going. I'll tell you. It's very interesting. Hello to whoever is here. Um, hey, how you doing? Hope everything's going okay with you. I've been on for about a minute 45. I'm going to wait until the 5 minute mark before I start answering any questions. But any questions you got, man, feel free to ask. Um, and let everybody know where you're from. Um, yeah, so let's see. No big announcement this week. Um, Nothing crazy really happened. Uh, oh man, 3 o'clock in the morning, Turkey. Thank you very much for being here. Um, so yeah, yeah, I certainly remember you, man. Um, but yeah, it's nice that you're here at 3 in the morning. There's another guy, I think from Turkey, that also hops on. I can't remember if he's from Turkey or not, but I think he's from Turkey. Um, so yeah, fantastic that you're here. Thanks for being here. And yeah, any questions that you have, feel free to ask. Obviously, I'm here to help. Um, my eye is like a it's as if I'm allergic right around my eyes somewhere. And my MacBook apparently wants to. Hey, Bearju, welcome. Good to see you in here. I do have one announcement. I have no. I'm not going to announce it yet. I'm working on a few new projects, which I'm excited about, but it's a little too early for me to talk much about them. Um, yeah, I hope this little beam of light from here doesn't impact the video too much. Let's see, it's 3 minutes and 50 seconds now, about a minute more, and I'll start answering some questions. So, any questions you guys might have, feel free to ask. Um, hey guys. Okay, about 30 more seconds left. All right, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to answer, so I'm just going to make a few questions up here. Let's see. Oh, the wife just sent me a few questions I could answer. Great, great timing. Okay. Uh, okay. So, wife sent in some questions because I didn't really have any on the top of off the top of my head to answer. So the first one is, did how did you guys handle holidays? And then also, were the hardest or easiest to deal with? So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, again, I'm going to answer the questions, but any questions that you guys might have, feel free to ask. And I'm going to prioritize answering those questions. I'm going to be here for about 35 more minutes. So, guys got a little bit of time, but it can go by pretty quickly. So, make sure you're answering. Oh, hey, Mark. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not quite sure why that's happening, but good to see you in here. Um, yeah, and I just saw your email regarding the 9/11. Um, when I decide I'm gonna go forward with it, I'll definitely reach out to you. Okay, so yeah, the first question is, how did you guys handle? Oh, Kazia, good to see you in here. Uh, Let us know where you're from. So, first question: how did you guys handle holidays? So, Vicky Virtual, we were a company that were not a 24/7 company, and we just had coverage of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and this was when I ran it, right? So, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. SC South Carolina, awesome. Um, and then we didn't cover weekends. There was a small amount of time that we covered the weekend, then we stopped doing it. Um, Vicky Virtual now I think has a 24/7 option, but I don't run the company anymore. So the way that we handled holidays, though, being a company that wasn't available 24/7. If you're 24/7, then you have to do the holidays, unfortunately. Um, and that's sort of a thing, right? Because you're dealing with potentially Christmas and that type of stuff. Um, some of the really big holidays, you got your agents on, and I guess agents are willing to work even on holidays, but I would certainly hope that you're paying them some type of premium. But anyway, what we did was we just followed, for the most part, banking holidays and federal holidays. There were some holidays that I guess were considered a banking holiday in the U.S. That we didn't take off. Like I think Columbus Day we did work, right? Labor Day, I honestly can't remember. We might have been off for Labor Day. Um, when I wasn't sure, like in our first year, actually our first 2 years, to be honest, we weren't quite sure which holidays we were going to take off or not. So when we would get close, I would actually just call one of our big competitors, like Ruby Receptionist, because they weren't 24/7 either. And I just act like I'm a current client or something, be like, hey, you guys are taking calls for this upcoming holiday. And if they said no, then we wouldn't take them. If they said yeah, then we would take them. So pretty easy way to handle certain things like that. There's going to be certain things that come up as you start to operate your business. Obviously, if you're in the group and you're in the tribe, you got me as well as the rest of the community as a resource. We know what to do, but every now and then there might be some stuff that comes up that's like really small questions. And again, I'll just call my competitor. Excuse me. I'll just call my competitors to see what they were doing and just copy it. Okay. All right. So Barker first said, you said one time that law firms were easier to handle. I don't know what's happening there. You said law firms were easier to handle than most businesses. Would you target them all or focus on, let's say, a specific type of specialty of lawyer, like injury lawyers or only family law? Um, what I will say, Barker, is that words attorney. I mean, you're right. Attorneys are really easy to handle, but they're also really hard to get. Um, um, The easiest way to eventually get a bunch of attorney clients, which is what we eventually did, is you need to um, you need to just focus on content marketing. 'Cause content marketing, especially when it comes to the legal profession, a lot of attorneys they don't want to. They spend their entire day, seeing through BS and like not really necessarily taking people at face value. They don't want to be sold on stuff, right? They just want to make their own decisions. Um, and so, long story short, it's really difficult to land them. But if you content market, then they can become inbound clients pretty easily. And in that sense, they're making a decision on their own. You're not convincing them; they convince themselves by looking at whatever content you've created, and being magnetized and attracted to your company. So I'll tell you the heart, but it is possible to get them, right? You can, do outbound marketing and still land them. It's just harder than certain other industries. Another thing to know, Barker, is that was, an attorney, let's say it's like a 4 out of 10 difficulty, the most difficult clients are like maybe a six, 6.5 difficulty. There's nothing that's like a 9 or a 10, right? Every now and then you, once out of like 100 times, you might get um, one client that's like really, just very difficult to deal with. They're just a butthead. And in that case, we just fire the client, right? We just send them an email saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm sorry, it's just not going to work out." And then we actually recommend them to one of our competitors, so they can be someone else's headache. So we have done that. We've done that. I would say about 1 out of 200 clients we've done that. So okay, so I guess it's more like 1 out of 100. Yeah, 1 out of 100. So I hope that answers your question. Kazia asked, are there any tools to use while trying to create a business plan for a virtual call center? Um, Honestly, I don't know. I've used the tool for business plan, but I certainly didn't create a business plan for this company because I only think you need a business plan if you're trying to get investors. If you're not trying to get any outside investors, it's really not necessary to have a business plan. The business is it's honestly too easy for a business plan. There's not that many components. There's not that many things that there's some things you have to think about, but a traditional business plan has so many things. Essentially, what you're doing with the plan is you're trying to write out the plan in its entirety, down to the very last detail, so that others understand it. But if you understand it, you don't need to write a business plan for yourself. But again, if you're trying to get some type of outside investment, um, the few times I've written business plan or participated in the write up of one was in completely different businesses. Again, we were looking for investment actively, and we just the most recent time we just Googled, business plan software and just went with it. Um, we just Googled. I mean, we were working on a business plan for like we were trying to raise like 9 figures, like 100 to 200 million dollars for some giant project. And we Googled some crazy business plan software that had templates and such, and that was more than sufficient. It was actually more than we needed. Um, the first time we raised money, we started to do a business plan. Well, actually, we did sort of create one, but we also created like an investment deck, which is not a business plan. It's a lot simpler, and we raised money just from the investor deck. Uh, the third time, which I forgot about, I actually am currently uh, I'm consulting for a small company, and one of the things I did was I helped them raise some money. I totally forgot about it. But so this was last year, last fall. We raised a small amount of money. But the point is that we didn't do a business plan for that either. We just did an investor deck, and that was all we needed because it was early on in the business. Um, and we were raising less than 250 grand, so it's just not that serious. So I hope that sort of answers your question. Um, the virtual call center, I would do a business plan if you're trying to land a large contract and you want investors to set you up with some type of on-premise solution with a bunch of agents to try to land a contract. But outside of that, I wouldn't do it. It's not necessary. Okay, Mark asked, how would you suggest to pay an outside rep? Forgive the typos on voice texting. Oh, you're doing good. Um, so, paying an outside rep, basically, we tried to create a scenario where someone that was hitting goals, if they were US based, somebody that hit the goals should make about 5 to 6 grand a month, right? We wanted to give them a base of around $2,500 a month, about $30,000 a year. That it's like their foundational pay, and then if they make sales and have results and stuff, they should hopefully get to 5 to 6 grand a month in income. Outside the U.S., it can be lower than that. Within the U.S., I mean, that was totally fine. I know you're in California, Mark. You don't have to hire. Wait, don't hire people in California. And again, do not launch your call center in California. Um, so if you're outside of California or New York, that's definitely a sufficient salary in the majority of places, and you're going to get some high quality people because presumably they're going to be able to work at home, and for somebody to have an opportunity to make 60 to 75 grand a year working from home, you're going to get some great candidates. Guys, I'm sort of under the weather here. Um, for the tribe members, I think I'm actually going to skip the second call today. Um, okay. So, Mr. Gokun, hope I'm saying that right. After reaching out to a potential client, how do we convince them to work with us? Basically, how do we advertise the business while on Zoom call? Uh, Omer, I think I'm saying it right when I say Omer or Umer. Um, Omer, it's a tough question to answer because I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean. If you have a prospect that's willing to hop on a Zoom call with you, then really you just explain the service, right? I didn't ever do much, even when we had sales rep. When sales reps are working, their goal isn't really to convince people to work with us. It's really just to get people on the phone with us and to get people on calls with us. If they're willing to get on the phone with us and have calls with us, at that point, it's less about convincing them and more about finding a solution to whatever issue they have. So the goal of those types of calls, even the first call from the beginning, you're trying to establish what problems they may or may not have in regard to call answering. And so, um, if they answer enough, um, if your prospect has any issue in terms of answering calls, um, then you figure out what the issue is, and then you sort of tailor your offering, your solution, your service to being the solution addressing that specific problem that the prospect brought up. And so, I guess if they're convincing, step one again is getting them to have a conversation with you. That's like 80% of the sales. Seriously, for anyone that's actually a good fit, that's like 80 to 90% of the sale. Getting them to listen to you, right? If you're able to get them to listen to you, then figure out where the issues is. Just about everybody has one, right? It might be, oh, why answer the phone myself? It's like, oh, okay, well, what if you're like doing some work or you're serving an existing client or you're on the phone currently? What do you do when an additional call comes in? Oh, well, I just, I'll miss it, but I'll call them back. It's like, oh, you miss it and call them back, huh? Well, how many times or how often might you attempt to call someone back and they've maybe selected a different vendor or you can't reach them? How often does that happen? Oh, not too much, just maybe 2 or 3 times a month. Okay, great. Well, when you do talk to people, if you're talking to a prospect, Let's say you talk to 3 people. How often do you land a new client? Oh, about 1 in 3 times. Okay, and how much is each client worth? Oh, about $1,000. Great. How many calls do you get a month? About 150. Great. So if you get $1,000 of revenue by us capturing that extra call, and you use about 150 minutes, you're just going to be paying us maybe $200 to $300 a month, and we'll capture those calls for you. You don't even have to think about it. You don't have to follow up with people. They're getting a better experience, and we'll probably land 1 to 3 more clients for you each month. If each client is worth $1,000, then it is something that makes sense for you financially, fiscally. Excuse me. And they either get it in that scenario or they don't. They see the value in that scenario or they don't. If they don't see the value, then they're not, like, if you spelled out for them and they don't see the value, then it's not going to happen. If they start to see the value and they're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah, that'd be nice, then I don't really close too much. The only thing that I ever used to say was, well, listen, if this is something that you think might work for you, we'd love to give it a shot. Let's go ahead and just get you going for a week-long trial. And, that way there's no commitment in terms of financially for you. And at the end of the trial, we can get a sense of what your usage is. And then, create a plan based off of that. And then we can go from there. And that's all I say. If they say, oh, I'd like to think about it, I say, okay, great. Well, good talking to you. I don't say stuff like, what could I get you what could I say to you to get you going today? What can I do to get you to say yes to me today? Some people do stuff like that, and I think it worked, but I don't do it. We didn't have to do it because, in this thing, when they say yes, they have to fill out all these onboarding forms. Not all these. They have to fill out the onboarding form, which if you're smart, you walk through that with them over the phone. And then they also have to start forwarding calls too, right? And then they got to pay you. And so there's a lot of opportunity for buyer's remorse. And if they weren't ready, then oftentimes they don't stick around. And so it's easier to get people that are ready and have them sticking around for like 2 years straight rather than having people that barely say yes and then they stick around for a month or two and, you're not really getting a whole lot of value out of it. So I don't do a lot of convincing. I just find people that are in the right mindset for me to talk to them and them see the light or they don't see the light. Oh, I'm glad I got your name right. Okay. All right. Who's next? Mark, I hope I answered your question. Mark asked, what kind of production do they do? Kezia, I'll answer your what are the basics in a moment. Mark asked, what kind of production? I have a baseline of asking that they close 5 clients a month. If they close 5 clients a month, it's always going to be a profitable sales rep for me. Build you ask, how do you deal with the question you don't know the answer that a customer asks? It didn't happen often, but you just say, I don't know. Say, listen, I'll get that answer for you soon, or we can figure something out. The thing is, because you're starting a company and you're running the company and you're the one doing prospecting call, like the service you're offering because you're the one offering it. You know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. So when someone asks, hey, do you guys do this? Because you're the company owner. You're not checking with some manager or supervisor. So now I will say, like, if you have, a lot of people that haven't joined the tribe, there's a lot of things about the call center industry they don't know yet. So there might be things that they could do that they didn't know that they could do because they don't have the knowledge yet. And so the big thing is, getting the knowledge so that you know exactly what you can offer, and then just being very clear on that. If you, try to offer too many things that just because a client asked for it, but it's not going to be comfortable for your business, palatable for your business, then you're just going to hurt your business you might get some temporary revenue, but it won't be good in the long term, and your company will have a much higher chance of failure. Okay. Um, Because you also asked, what are some useful online tools that can be used for better customer service for my call center business? Those are great questions, Beatrice. Guys are killing it today. Um, okay. Useful online tools. Well, I talk about all the tools that you need to use in the course. So, I don't want to get too much into it, but, you need a good contact center software. You might use a good CRM. Some contact center softwares have a CRM built in, customer relationship management tool. And people use that for keeping their prospect, potential sales people organized. You might need some type of tool that enables the team to communicate and chat with each other during the day. You need a good email client. You need a good um, email marketing client software. Uh, and there's a few other things. But there's not that many things. Again, it's a pretty simple business. And I get specific with all of the different softwares that are utilized in the course. Okay. Kezia asked, did you ever offer to learn some things for some clients in order to handle call for them? Um, we would offer to learn. Actually, that's not true. At first, we were doing back end, meaning we were willing to log in um, to the system to book clients or something. So, like, there was a bunch of local service businesses that was using something called Jobber, which was a booking software, and you absolutely had to log into the back end in order to book the job. Um, so, we offered to learn that, and by learning it, it just means that your agents know how to navigate the software in order to like use it, right? So we would offer to learn some software, but then we got sick of it because it was very mind numbing for the agents that had to know like 20 different backend systems for different software platforms for different clients and different industries and stuff. Their brains were melting. So eventually we just said the hell with that. Um, so I guess overall the answer is sort of a no. Obviously, we learn things about the industry. We will learn certain things that are pertinent to the industry, but we wouldn't learn too many things specific to the company. We needed to have that information in front of us because you don't want to have the agent thinking too much, doing too much. That's how you have a call center where the agents are they got too many KPIs to deal with. They're starting to struggle. There's so many more metrics, and there's so many more ways that your client can be let down and have a unsatisfactory experience. However, if on the software side, you're able to learn something that's useful, like for instance, lawyers really like Clio, CLIO. It's like something that helps them manage their small law firm. And so, if your agents are well versed in that, you can put that on your website, and it becomes a nice selling point for your prospects in that arena, in that industry. So that type of stuff, you make the decision on your own as to whether or not it's worth it. But I typically, when we started again, we were just trying to do anything. After a while, we realized that 90% of prospects that were going to use us are more than happy with the simple stuff. And the 5 to 10% that need more, they're just not a good prospect for us, and they can use a different service. Because that 5 to 10% of clients that really badly needs us to do those extra things make the company 50% harder overall to run, right? Um, so, like, do you really need that extra 5 to 10%? in additional revenue that bad. Not that you're saying you do, Kazia, but just as a mindset situation. Again, I think a lot of people they go after just any revenue they can get. But I've said this over and over again: all revenue isn't good revenue. All revenue isn't the same. So you want to make sure that you're serving clients that are best for your business, even if you're like scrambling in the beginning and really just trying to get things popping. It's extremely important that you serve clients that are going to benefit your business. Um, and again, that'll give you more. Uh, uh, it'll be less stressful, so you'll have more ability because your team is running more smoothly, and so they'll be better equipped to serve more clients in a better way, which brings up the retention of each client. It might lead to referrals more quickly. It leads to agents sticking around longer instead of quitting. There's all kinds of things that it's sort of tough to measure uh, in the amount of money that it saved you or gained you, but they are absolutely apparent. They're there, and it just can't be underestimated. Okay. Hey, Mark, thanks for that. I don't know why. This is like my third time being sick this year, which is insane. I usually get sick once every 5 or 6 years, so I'm getting old. Okay. Well, Mayor asked, I was going to ask a similar question. What or how much do we have to dive into the work, the company we're working with? Yeah, so you don't have to dive too much. That's the beauty of this type of company. Um, it's just the simple stuff. Like what Vicky Virtual is offering right now, you can look at their website, vickyvirtual.com. What they offer is enough. It's enough for over 1,000 clients. Enough. I mean, Ruby Receptionist, they didn't even do appointment booking. So internalize this. Everybody keep this in their brain. Ruby Receptionist grew to 15,000 clients, paying them more money, like in terms of the how expensive it was. They were more expensive than us by like 50%, sometimes almost double. And they had 15,000 clients, and they achieved that without even offering appointment booking or appointment scheduling. They were literally just answering the call. So they would answer, they would take messages, they would transfer call, they would do the occasional outbound call, and that's it. And they would send call summary email. But that's it. They didn't do any appointment booking at all. And they got to 15,000 clients. So don't worry about, trying to handle all kinds of other services. If you handle too many other services, you're not a virtual receptionist call center anymore. Now you're becoming a virtual assistant company. And a virtual assistant company is a different market. It's a different company. It's a different thing that you're operating. Like you're not doing the same thing anymore. So yeah, hope that helps. Hope that answers everybody's question in that regard. Okay, let's see. I think I covered everything. Okay. Yeah, so whoever's here, um, yeah, I'm skipping the tribe call tonight. I need to sort of rest to chill out. Um, so I apologize for those that are in the tribe. Maybe I can do it tomorrow. But we've been going week in and week out. So Kazia, we're certainly willing to answer technical questions, but the information has to be there. So we're never going to learn those things about the business. No way. No. The information has to be there. Now, what will happen though? Oh, no problem, man. What will happen though is that um, because agents are handling a certain amount of clients, they end up learning things that are in the instructions anyway through repetition, right? Like if you're an agent taking a few hundred and then a couple thousand call for a client, like you just learn about the client. Um, but anything technical, we're never like customer service rep. We're never like troubleshooting things for people, right? We're not that type of business. You can be like you can pivot into that type of call center if you want, right? When I'm launching now, actually, we are going to be doing that, but I'm fully aware that it's going to be significantly more difficult, and it just is what it is. But the virtual receptionist space, you don't need to do that stuff. Um, because it's just difficult. And again, it's a different type of company because what we're competing against in the virtual receptionist space is not traditional call centers. It's not a traditional call center. We're competing against traditional answering services. Now, traditional answering services, they charge like 40, $50 a month, and literally all they do is answer the phone and take messages. That's it. They don't do anything else whatsoever. And so we're cut above that, not just in terms of slightly more services that we're willing to offer, but also um, the quality of those interactions, the quality of the call. We make sure agents are happier, they sound better because we're charging more. We're able to charge our pay our agents more. One and two, have enough people manning the phones so that you don't have like these long hold times. Some people try to be cheap as hell, and it's stupid because if you don't charge enough money, you're not going to be able to have enough labor to cover payroll to be able to answer the phone without people waiting in call waiting forever. Like there's a bottoming out in terms of okay, you got a fixed cost for payroll, and you need this many agents to answer this many calls, no matter what. And so, in a way, that's what's great about our industry, right? You could like be an e-commerce store and you're selling a product that you paid $5 a unit for, and you're selling it for $10, and then some dick comes in. He bought like 100,000 units at $2 a unit, so he's selling it for $6. He's happy with his profit margin. You can't compete, right? But you're not going to sell the like a U.S. based receptionist. You're not going to suddenly have U.S. based people making $3 an hour. Now, obviously, you can hire overseas and change it, but there's still going to be like a bottoming out as far as how low you can keep payroll and still keep the lights on and be profitable. Um, so so that's what we're competing against. We're competing with traditional answering services that are not staffing enough people to do a good job. And so the quality of service is just not going to be the same. Um, so yeah, and I just want to emphasize one last time because it is extremely important. It comes up all the time. Don't feel like you need to offer all kinds of stuff to to stand out in the market. It might feel like there's a lot of companies in the market. I promise there aren't. If you're consistent in terms of prospecting and reaching out to people, if you're consistent into getting into conversations with prospect, whether it's on the phone, email, whatever, messenger, LinkedIn, if you're consistently having conversations with prospect, then you're going to get sales, right? And if you're consistently doing content marketing, then eventually you will build up a reputation. Just like me, I'm sitting here doing this YouTube stuff, and all of you guys are here. I didn't reach out to any of you. You all came to me because I'm creating this content. So do the same thing for your business, and people will come to you. It takes a little longer, obviously, but it's extremely important, and it's a well, I won't say it's permanent. Content can be pretty much permanent, but your ranking might not be. So you have to be consistent. But the reality is that once you got people coming in, you're not like going out and prospecting anymore. And then keep in mind, out of over 1,000 clients, 70% of our clients were inbound. So it has a tremendous impact. Because yeah, I'm so glad that you enjoyed what I have to say. Um, so yeah, it had a tremendous impact to make sure you do content marketing. It takes 6 months to a year, but it will start to trickle in and help your business. Um, so yeah, I mean, get out there and prospect, however, which method you'd like to use. Again, we talk about that not only in the course, but in the community all the time. One of the main things we talk about. Um, and yeah, I'm going to start doing this every week. If you are looking to join our, our, um, our course, um, make sure you click that link and you'll get 20% off the retail price. Okay. Kazia said, "Oh, thank you, Amir." Kazia said, "Did you just name some of the content when you said this is not a traditional call center?" I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean by name some of the content. Um, I mean, traditional call center is, the thing where you get. Oh, no, no. Content marketing simply means creating. Different things that are associated with your company. So, like, for instance, me doing this, it's going to be a recorded video that's available on the YouTube channel as a piece of content, right? And so that creation of this piece of content is a form of content marketing because, in a sense, I'm marketing for people to find me on YouTube and hopefully, find value in what I'm saying right now, and eventually maybe decide if they're interested, they're going to grab the course, right? That's a content marketing method. Another thing would be writing blog posts, either on your own website or on other people's website, like going on a blog for plumbing contractors, writing a blog post about 5 ways to streamline your plumbing business, and then say tip number 5 is get a virtual receptionist company, and then you plug your business. But the other 4 different things that are valuable pieces of advice that are not get a virtual receptionist company. So these different content marketing pieces, I got some stuff on Reddit. I've got some. I guess the Medium stuff isn't really. I've got my Facebook page, and I should be doing a lot more than I'm doing for the course, so to speak. But Vicky Virtual, in our first year and a half, we did a lot of content marketing, and it's seriously like we didn't do much after the first year and a half, and it was still paying dividend for us for 3.5 more years until I sold the company. So it's very important. So again, guys, I gotta go. Um, Really appreciate you all being here. You guys had some absolutely fantastic questions. I'm really glad we had this session. I'm glad I showed up for this session. And yeah, if you guys have some questions throughout the week, again, one, you can email me. Some people have started to do that too. Again, you can either comment on this or comment on one of my other videos. Whatever the question is, and 95% of them I answer. The other 5% doesn't really make sense to answer. But there's no stupid questions. But whatever. My point is that there's many ways to ask questions, and I'll make sure personally that those questions get answered. So yeah, thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next week. I appreciate you all. Hey, thank you.